The blind trust in eat your vegetables might be undermining your health at this very moment. Most seniors follow nutritional advice designed for younger bodies, not realizing this mistake could be accelerating joint pain, digestive distress, and medication interference. These 9 vegetables you're eating daily could be silently sabotaging your well-being. Your body at 65 plus processes foods differently. That's not opinion, that's biological reality. The choices you make at the grocery store this week will either support or undermine your independence. It's time to take responsibility for what's truly on your plate. Number 1. Raw kale. I watched a man in his 70s meticulously prepare his daily green smoothie. Every morning, without fail, he'd stuff handfuls of raw kale into his blender, believing he was fortifying his body against time itself. Yet week after week, his digestive discomfort worsened. His body was sending signals he couldn't interpret, signals that what works for a 30-year-old yoga instructor isn't necessarily what works for him. This isn't merely about comfort, it's about the fundamental relationship between aging and digestion. As we age, our production of digestive enzymes diminishes substantially. The fibrous structure of raw kale, so celebrated in popular nutrition, becomes increasingly difficult for the senior digestive system to break down. What was once superfood transforms into a source of bloating, gas, and nutrition that passes through without being properly absorbed. The cruciferous compounds in kale contain goitrogens, substances that can interfere with thyroid function when consumed raw in large quantities. For seniors already experiencing metabolic changes, this presents an unnecessary burden on a system seeking balance. The same compounds causing digestive distress can actually impair the absorption of crucial medications many seniors rely upon. The solution isn't abandoning kale entirely, but transforming your relationship with it. Steaming or cooking kale breaks down the fibrous structures and neutralizes many of the problematic compounds. The simple act of applying heat changes everything, turning an antagonist into an ally. This is how wisdom differs from mere information. Number 2. High oxalate spinach. The darkness of fresh spinach leaves seems to promise vitality and strength. Pop culture gave us Popeye, opening cans of spinach for immediate power. But beneath this cultural mythology lies a more complex truth about this seemingly innocent leafy green, particularly for men over 65. Spinach contains extremely high levels of oxalates, compounds that bind to calcium in the body. This binding creates crystals that can accumulate in the kidneys, forming painful stones. The senior male body, already navigating changes in kidney function, faces heightened vulnerability to these crystalline formations. What you don't see is how these invisible compounds silently accumulate, day after day, meal after meal. The psychological dimension here runs deep. We cling to nutritional beliefs as a form of control in an increasingly uncertain bodily experience. Spinach represents health, vitality, strength, the very qualities that feel threatened as we age. But true control comes not from clinging to outdated nutritional dogma, but from adapting to your body's current needs. For seniors taking certain blood-thinning medications, the high vitamin K content in spinach creates another layer of risk by potentially interfering with medication effectiveness. Each bite becomes a complex negotiation between nutritional benefit and potential harm. What serves the general population may not serve your specific physiological reality. Transform your approach by blanching spinach briefly to reduce oxalate content by up to 40% and rotate your greens regularly. Arugula, lettuce, and many other greens provide similar benefits without the oxalate burden. This isn't about elimination, it's about strategic adaptation to honor where your body stands today, not where it stood 3 decades ago. Number 3. Uncooked beans. I once observed an elderly man who prided himself on his legendary 3-bean salad. Every family gathering, he'd arrive with this dish, unaware that those firm, undercooked beans were silently undermining his health. His digestive system was in constant revolt, but he attributed it to normal aging rather than questioning a recipe he'd made for decades. This represents our fundamental misunderstanding of how aging impacts our relationship with certain foods. Raw and undercooked beans contain lectins, defensive compounds plants evolved to deter consumption. These protein structures can bind to the intestinal wall, creating inflammation and disrupting nutrient absorption. For the senior digestive system, already less efficient and more vulnerable, these lectins become particularly problematic. The older body experiences a natural decline in stomach acid production. This reduction makes it increasingly difficult to break down these stubborn compounds. What was once merely uncomfortable in your 40s becomes genuinely harmful in your 70s. The lectins in uncooked beans don't just cause temporary discomfort, they can trigger immune responses that exacerbate joint pain and inflammation, symptoms many seniors already battle daily. This isn't merely about comfort, it's about maximizing the diminishing capacity of your digestive system. Each meal becomes increasingly consequential as you age. The resources your body once had to overcome dietary challenges are now needed elsewhere. Wisdom means recognizing this reality and adapting accordingly. The solution is straightforward but non-negotiable. Beans must be thoroughly soaked and properly cooked until completely soft. The transformation through preparation isn't optional, it's essential. This simple act of preparation neutralizes the lectins and converts a potential enemy into a valuable ally rich in protein and fiber your body can actually use. Number 4. Conventional potatoes. The humble potato sits innocently in kitchen pantries across the nation. This staple from our childhood appears benign, comfortable, familiar. Yet for seniors, conventional commercially grown potatoes harbor a darker reality beneath their earthy skin. Non-organic potatoes consistently rank among the most heavily pesticide-contaminated vegetables in modern agriculture. The porous skin of potatoes readily absorbs these chemical compounds, which then distribute throughout the flesh. This isn't fear-mongering, it's documented reality. The senior body, with its declining detoxification capabilities, faces particular vulnerability to this accumulated chemical burden. The psychological dimension here runs deep. We associate potatoes with comfort, with meals shared across a lifetime of experiences. They connect us to our past, to family traditions, to simpler times. Challenging this food challenges our narrative of safety and continuity. But the chemical reality of modern potato cultivation has transformed dramatically from the potatoes of your youth. For seniors already navigating complex medication regimens, these agricultural chemicals create an additional burden on the liver and kidneys. These organs, already processing pharmaceuticals, face unnecessary strain from these hidden compounds. The glycalkaloids naturally present in potatoes, particularly in those slightly green or sprouted, compound this issue by potentially interfering with nerve function and digestion. The path forward isn't abandoning potatoes entirely, but transforming your approach. Choose organic varieties when possible, store them properly to prevent sprouting, and remove any green portions before cooking. Consider purple or sweet potatoes as alternatives with lower glycalkaloid content and greater antioxidant benefits. This represents not deprivation but evolution, adapting your choices to honor your body's current reality. Number 5. Nightshade vegetables. I recall watching an elderly gentleman meticulously tend his garden, growing beautiful tomatoes, eggplants, and peppers with pride. Yet each evening after enjoying his harvest, his joints would flare with inflammation. The connection remained invisible to him. The very fruits of his labor were triggering his pain. This pattern continued for years until a chance conversation revealed what his body had been telling him all along. The nightshade family, tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, and potatoes, contains compounds called alkaloids that exist as part of the plant's natural defense system. These alkaloids, particularly solanine, can act as immune system triggers in susceptible individuals. For seniors already battling inflammatory conditions like arthritis, these compounds can significantly exacerbate joint pain and stiffness. The aging body often becomes increasingly sensitive to these inflammatory triggers as immune system regulation naturally changes. What makes this particularly challenging is the delayed reaction many experience. The inflammatory response might not appear for 24 or 48 hours after consumption, obscuring the connection between what you ate and the pain you feel. This separation between cause and effect creates a psychological blindness to the real culprit. You blame random chance, weather changes, or simply getting older rather than identifying the actual trigger within your control. This isn't merely about physical comfort, it's about maintaining mobility and independence. Joint pain doesn't just hurt, it restricts movement, limits social engagement, and gradually erodes quality of life. Each meal containing these nightshades potentially contributes to this restriction, this narrowing of possibilities in your daily life. The accumulated effect can be profound. The solution requires temporary elimination followed by careful reintroduction. Remove all nightshades for 3 weeks, then systematically reintroduce them one at a time, noting any reactions. This methodical approach transforms vague suspicions into concrete knowledge about your specific body. Many seniors discover that while some nightshades cause problems, others may be tolerated well, personalized knowledge that no general nutrition advice could provide. Number 6. Raw cruciferous vegetables. The wellness industry celebrates raw broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts as nutritional powerhouses. Health magazines feature vibrant crudité platters with raw florets, suggesting this is the optimal way to consume these vegetables. But this represents another fundamental misunderstanding of how aging changes nutritional needs. Cruciferous vegetables in their raw state contain compounds called glucosinolates that, while beneficial in some contexts, can significantly interfere with thyroid function when consumed regularly in large amounts. For seniors already experiencing natural changes in metabolism and hormonal regulation, this additional burden on thyroid function can contribute to fatigue, cold sensitivity, and weight management difficulties. The very foods you're eating to improve health may be undermining your metabolic foundation. The senior digestive system faces another challenge with these raw vegetables. Their complex cellular structures resist breakdown without adequate chewing and strong digestive enzymes, both often diminished in older adults. The resulting gas, bloating, and discomfort aren't character flaws or weaknesses. They're legitimate physiological responses to foods that your current digestive capacity cannot properly process. This creates a painful contradiction. You're doing what you believe is right, following conventional wisdom about healthy eating, yet your body responds with discomfort and distress. This disconnect between expectation and experience creates not just physical discomfort but psychological dissonance. You begin to distrust your body rather than questioning the appropriateness of the food in its current form. The solution lies not in elimination but in transformation through cooking. Steaming, roasting, or sautéing these vegetables breaks down the problematic compounds and fibrous structures while preserving most nutrients. This simple act of applying heat converts potential digestive enemies into allies that nourish rather than challenge your system. This represents wisdom, adapting preparation methods to honor your body's current reality, not clinging to idealized notions of nutrition. Number 7. High-sodium canned vegetables. I observed an elderly man who relied heavily on canned vegetables for convenience. His shelves were lined with these ready-to-eat solutions that simplified his daily routine. Yet his blood pressure remained stubbornly elevated despite medication adjustments. The hidden sodium in those seemingly innocent cans was silently undermining his cardiovascular health, one meal at a time. This illustrates a profound truth about aging and nutrition. The convenience that seems to serve us is often extracting a hidden cost. Most canned vegetables contain significant amounts of sodium as a preservative, often between 300 to 800 milligrams per serving. For the senior cardiovascular system already navigating natural changes in arterial elasticity and kidney function, this additional sodium burden can significantly impact blood pressure regulation and fluid balance. The psychological dimension runs deep here. As we age, the simplification of daily tasks becomes increasingly attractive. Canned vegetables represent ease, reduced waste, and extended shelf life, practical solutions to legitimate challenges. The trade-off between convenience and health often occurs below conscious awareness, a bargain we haven't explicitly agreed to but pay for nonetheless. For seniors taking certain blood pressure medications, diuretics, or heart medications, this hidden sodium creates another layer of risk by potentially counteracting pharmaceutical benefits. Each seemingly innocent serving of canned vegetables may be working directly against the medications you're faithfully taking. The accumulated effect over months and years can significantly impact cardiovascular health outcomes. The solution isn't abandoning convenience but recalibrating how it's achieved. Opt for low sodium or no salt added varieties. Rinse regular canned vegetables thoroughly to remove up to 40% of added sodium, or transition to frozen vegetables which typically contain no added salt while maintaining nutritional value. These simple adaptations preserve convenience while eliminating unnecessary risk. This represents wisdom, finding solutions that honor both your practical needs and physiological reality. Number 8. Gas-forming vegetables. The dinner table conversation often turns awkward when digestive discomfort arises. I've witnessed seniors quietly suffering after meals rich in onions, garlic, and certain root vegetables, attributing their discomfort to an inevitable consequence of aging rather than specific food choices. This silent suffering reflects our cultural discomfort with discussing digestive function. These gas-forming vegetables, onions, garlic, leeks, and others from the allium family, contain high levels of fructans, a type of carbohydrate that the human digestive system struggles to break down completely. For seniors experiencing natural changes in gut bacteria composition and digestive enzyme production, these fructans become increasingly problematic, fermenting in the large intestine and producing significant gas, bloating, and discomfort. This creates a particularly challenging dilemma. These same vegetables offer valuable cardiovascular benefits through compounds that support heart health and blood pressure regulation. The very foods that could benefit your cardiovascular system may simultaneously undermine your digestive comfort and, by extension, your social confidence and engagement. This represents the complex nutritional balancing act that aging requires. The psychological impact extends beyond physical discomfort. Digestive unpredictability creates anxiety about social situations, restaurant meals, or family gatherings. This anxiety can lead to gradual withdrawal from social engagement, precisely when social connection becomes increasingly vital for cognitive health and emotional well-being. What begins as physical discomfort can ultimately contribute to isolation. The solution requires tactical adaptation rather than wholesale elimination. Consider cooking these vegetables thoroughly instead of consuming them raw, as heat breaks down some of the problematic compounds. Experiment with smaller portions incorporated into mixed dishes rather than larger servings. For some, enzyme supplements taken before meals containing these vegetables can significantly improve tolerance. These adaptations allow you to maintain the nutritional benefits while minimizing digestive consequences, another example of strategic adaptation to honor your body's current needs. Number 9. Raw mushrooms. I once knew a man who prided himself on his health-conscious choices. Every morning he'd slice raw mushrooms onto his salad, believing he was fortifying his body with immune-boosting compounds, yet he couldn't understand why he experienced persistent digestive distress despite his supposedly healthy choices. The connection remained hidden in plain sight. This illustrates a fundamental truth about mushrooms that nutrition articles rarely address. Raw mushrooms contain chitin, a fibrous compound that makes up their cell walls. The human digestive system lacks chitinase, the enzyme required to break down this substance effectively. For seniors already experiencing natural declines in digestive efficiency, this presents a significant barrier to both comfort and nutritional absorption. More concerning is that many varieties of edible mushrooms contain hydrazines and other compounds that are considered carcinogenic in their raw state. These toxins are effectively neutralized through proper cooking, but remain bioactive when consumed raw. The senior immune system, already facing age-related challenges, doesn't need this additional burden of potentially harmful compounds that serve no beneficial purpose. The psychological dimension here reflects our broader relationship with nutritional information. We absorb fragments of health advice, mushrooms boost immunity, without capturing the crucial context when properly prepared. This partial knowledge leads to choices that undermine the very goals we're trying to achieve. The gap between information and wisdom becomes increasingly consequential as we age. Cooking mushrooms isn't merely a culinary preference, it's a biological necessity. The simple application of heat transforms these fungi from digestive challenges into genuine nutritional allies. Sautéing, roasting, or simmering mushrooms breaks down the indigestible chitin, neutralizes potentially harmful compounds, and actually increases the bioavailability of their beneficial nutrients. This represents the wisdom of traditional food preparation methods that modern raw food trends often overlook. Number 10. Healthier alternatives for seniors. The garden of nutritional possibilities doesn't narrow with age, it simply requires more thoughtful navigation. The leafy green spectrum extends far beyond problematic kale and spinach. Arugula, with its peppery profile, delivers similar nutrients without the oxalate burden. Romaine offers the satisfying crunch without digestive distress. Swiss chard, when properly cooked, provides exceptional nutrition with fewer thyroid-impacting compounds than its cruciferous cousins. Root vegetables represent another realm of possibilities. Sweet potatoes offer the comfort and satisfaction of white potatoes with additional antioxidant benefits and lower glycemic impact. Carrots, beets, and parsnips provide fiber and nutrients that support gut health when properly prepared. Their natural sweetness satisfies while their complex carbohydrates provide sustained energy, increasingly important as metabolic efficiency naturally declines. The transformation of vegetables through proper preparation isn't a compromise, it's an optimization. Fermenting cabbage into sauerkraut or kimchi pre-digests the problematic compounds while creating beneficial probiotics. Steaming broccoli for just 3 to 4 minutes preserves its anti-cancer compounds while neutralizing the digestive challenges. These methods don't represent outdated traditions, they reflect ancestral wisdom about food as medicine. This isn't merely about avoiding discomfort, it's about maximizing nutritional absorption when it matters most. Senior nutritional needs increase precisely as digestive efficiency decreases. This paradox requires strategic adaptation. Properly prepared vegetables deliver their nutrients more effectively to systems that need them desperately. Each thoughtfully prepared meal becomes an investment in continued mobility, cognitive function, and independence. The psychological dimension here matters deeply. Adapting food choices isn't about restriction or deprivation, it's about recalibrating to your body's current reality. This recalibration represents not defeat but wisdom. It acknowledges that honoring your body as it exists today requires different choices than it did decades ago. This isn't surrender to aging, it's strategic adaptation that allows you to continue thriving within new physiological parameters. What you eat isn't just about taste. It's about honoring your body's current reality. Your 65-plus body speaks a different biochemical language than it did decades ago. There's chaos in clinging to outdated nutritional habits, but order emerges when you align your choices with your biological truth. Your body isn't betraying you, it's communicating through discomfort and inflammation. Ask yourself, are you nourishing the body you have now or feeding the memory of the body you once had? Your next meal will answer that question more honestly than words ever could.